Hello, welcome to episode 161 in this series where I'm programming an NES game live on Twitch from scratch. So this is going to be a shorter episode, shorter stream, probably just about an hour, depending on how things go. I just want to really focus on fixing the problem we were seeing last time with the map transitions not working. The first two work, and then I believe the third one even works, but then, right, so it goes from the map to the repeat scroll to the map, but then it doesn't go back to repeat scroll again. I want to find out why. I kind of thought maybe it had something to do with the way the offset was being calculated. It's still possible that that's true, given that it's, a lot of data in here. That said, I don't think it's enough data that it should be a problem. Let's take a look at map1.bin. So map1.bin, it is about 1.7K. What is the actual exact byte amount? 1743. So that is relatively large. It's not so large that 16 bits couldn't hold it, but it's definitely large enough that if I'm doing something wrong with the math, we're gonna see problems. So let's take a look at what's going on with that, because I really want this to work well. I also really need to figure out why. Maybe we'll look at this first, and this part of it first, and then if I can't see anything obvious, we'll just leave it till either later or next stream. There's a problem where, for some reason, the map is not loading the enemies correctly. The repeat scroll stuff is, and if you remember from last time, we have a what did I call it? Ocean? Yeah, so we have this ocean1 objects.bin, and this has just the files that are just the objects that need to get loaded. It's only 281 bytes. It's really small. So that means that the repeat scroll section is really compact, even though it's a pretty long section of map. And if we load up tiled here for a moment, we can, visually see what that looks like. But let's take a look at what's going on and why the map isn't properly loading up the objects. And that should be relatively straightforward to see. And again, if it's not, we'll just skip it and proceed to the transitions not working. So load level. Also, for those of you who pre-ordered the game and have actually want access to the source code, I will be doing an update. I'll be pushing an update to the repo soon with these file changes. I apologize for not doing that sooner. It's just been a little bit hectic between life and work, and this week I'm on call for work, so not that impacts my evenings that much, but by the end of the day I'm a little bit tired, so it's just kind of it's a little bit hard to come back to this after a slightly more stressful day. It's not even stressful, it's just very I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It's just more intense. Like it's not like where it was stressful at my previous job, but it's definitely more focused and more intense, and takes a lot more out of me than my normal development stuff. So, all right, so looking at this code here, when we are processing a normal map, we check to see, or if we're processing the map, we're looking to see if it's a repeat scroll, and if it's not, then we will go, let's see, branch if equal to there. So otherwise we go to next map. Next map mode check 2, which is here. So this is a standard map. And so then we calculate the offset of where the enemy objects should be. Hey, how's it going, Mauser1299? It's going okay. We're just getting started here. I'm gonna try and time box this to about an hour tonight. We'll see if I'm successful at that. I really have two main things I want to get done. What I'm not seeing is where we are setting the object information. So that's load level objects. Level that's being load level objects. Load level. Do we not call load level objects? Oh, that's no problem. It's later than my usual start, and it's a Tuesday to boot, so it's a little bit unusual timing on my part. But it's just been, like I was explaining, it's a little bit busy for me. So what's going on here? So this is looking at the level data. Am I not? Load level. Load new game. Load level objects. Oh. Huh. So I think I know what's going on. All right. So what's happening is we're hard coding the load of the level objects here from the prior code. And if we look back at our map, right, what we see is we've got, oh, zoom in. Come on, stop zooming. I gotta reconnect the keyboard back the other way because it's acting weird because it's on this USB hub. For some reason it doesn't like that. But anyway, so you can see we have these objects in this back and forth pattern, and this is the repeat scrolling section, which is why like the background tiles don't matter at all. But you can also see that this is much longer than this map, and I think what's happening is I'm pretty sure this is what it is. I'm hard coding the load of the level objects here, and then as a result, when we're in this map section, it doesn't actually ever get to this part. Like the X and Y coordinate doesn't actually get reached, and so it never loads the level object. So like if I look at the Y coordinate here, it's 2262, and if I look at the bottom of this map, which is map 1, the bottom of it, the Y coordinate, the maximum Y coordinate is what? If I take the spawn point for a second here and move it to the bottom, I'm going to zoom in a little bit for that. Yeah, so the maximum is 1655. Okay, so that makes sense. So basically, we're never getting to the point where, as far as the Y coordinate is concerned of the ship, it's never getting to a point where it would even load these objects. Forget about these, it's not even looking at that right now. So that's the problem. That's why those objects are not getting loaded properly. So we probably don't want to call this as part of the new game state load. It should probably be part of loading the level itself. Now, the only sort of weird thing about this is that means that so right now we were doing this based on this positioning just being an index into, I don't even know what it was doing. What is that doing? I was thinking it's just doing it based on, I guess it is, it's just doing it based on the beginning of level 1 objects, but because now we have multiple files here, that it's not really correct anymore. Because it would just be indexing it in with one position, and that doesn't make any sense here anymore. So let's go back to the level data. What it would really need to be doing is indexing based on the size of the level object data, which it's not doing. We do have the high and low here, but that is just literally of this table of data. So we have a couple ways we can do this. The first is we could incorporate it into here. And the reason we would want to do that, and not into the file itself, but into this definition, right? So we could say, how would we do this? So we would want to do something like high bytes, like we'd have ocean1 object like that, and map1 object, something like this, where we're defining the files separately, and then we'd say high bytes. Actually, we don't even need to do that. We can just say, I think, yeah, I think, oh no, stop. This keyboard thing is going to be driving me crazy. Say something like this. We do high bytes, and it's map1 object, and then low bytes, map1 object. So that would give us our high byte and low byte of that address. And if we build that, if I did that right, we should just see 2 extra bytes where the map data is. Map1 object, level 1 object not defined. Level 1 object. Oh yeah, because these are, that can go away. I think that's going to break my load level code. Let's comment this out for a second, because I don't think it's actually used anywhere else. Come on. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, so we have now, if we can find this in our assembled code, let's reload the ROM and go to level data .asm. You can see that is at 92.8, and if we go to that 92.8, yeah, so we have 01 is the first byte, and then we have A, B, and ED. And if we look, let's see, well, yeah, so ABED is the CPU address. ABED, you can see it here. I was looking at this one for some reason. So we're writing the 2 bytes that tell us, okay, the object data is here. And the reason we probably want to be able to do that, I'm not 100% set on this, but like the main reason you'd want to do something like this is because then you have the flexibility of, if you want to swap in, let's say if you decide, let's say we decide that for the sake of simplicity, we try and build out sections of the level that are all roughly the same length. Maybe they're all exactly the same length. I don't know. And then we have different enemy patterns that are in these files, right? And we want to swap the pattern because one pattern works better in one section than another. It's as simple as saying, okay, I actually want ocean1 bin, ocean1 object here, and we just swap that, and then we're good to go, right? Because now it's going to use the address that's here. On the flip side, then we have to do that for every section of level that we specify. I think I'm okay with that trade-off. It adds a lot of flexibility to what we're trying to do. We're going to have to fix our code to handle that properly, but that's okay. So it's better than what we had before, I think, in terms of just really allowing for some good stuff to happen. I'm just looking at this stuff here. Oh, why is that extra byte there? That shouldn't be there. Okay, so oops, wrong spot. Yeah, I didn't do this the right way here. Sorry. I was talking and then I messed this up. So the byte for the type has to be standalone. Trying to be really good about these comments now that we went through all the trouble of reorganizing all of our stuff. I only need to make this correct one time. Come on, keyboard, work with me for this. We'll fix you later. Okay, so level object data address is right. And then this goes here, and then this goes here. We can separate some stuff out with some spacing just to kind of distinguish. You know what, I'm going to keep these grouped, but separate out the other stuff. Okay, and then this will just copy. That, and that's the end of the level. And there was an extra byte in here that may have been causing the problem we were seeing in the repeat scrolling, but we'll take a look at that in a second. So we've got our map with map1 objects, and then this is the ocean1 objects, and then the same thing, map1, ocean1 for repeat scroll. And we need to now change our load level code to properly handle that stuff, right? So what was this doing? This was setting the level object data to those pointers and then grabbing the count, and then what was it doing? It was adding 1 to skip over the count. Okay, so this is actually okay to keep. What we want to do though is, instead of making this use param1 as the level being loaded, param1 and 2 are the high and low to the object data. So let's see. Actually, no, we can't do. I mean, we can do that. That's not what we want to do, though. Oh, actually, no. That's fine. So we can. Sorry. Yeah, we can do this. So we store it into there because level object data is the pointer we're going to be using to load the level object count, and then we're going to increment stuff here, and then we can do this fun little. Come on, keyboard. We can do this. The trick we learned, which is we load A with 0, and then add level object data plus 1, and then store it. So clear carry, add 1 if we get the carry set. After we store, we set A to 0 and add this, and it's going to include the carry, so it'll add 1 if the value was indeed overflown into what would have been the next byte in the operation, and then we store it so that we actually store the result, unlike other times where I forget. And then in the load level code, we need to just make sure that we account for this properly. So let's see. That's calculating the current level offset or using the current level offset to determine where it's looking at to start. Excuse me. Where is the check for the type? Load a row current level offset, all that stuff. Oh, you know what? Let's do it the other way because it's not consistent with how I had been doing it elsewhere. So let's load A with level object data +1, and then we'll add carry 0. Okay, so now that's consistent. All right, so load a level mem, clear carry, add 15. If modifying the map, this is the change that is used later to reset the pointer into the actual map data. What is that? That's 16 plus 5, 21. So that's the map type, and then if it's a repeat scroll, what we want to do regardless is we want to load a row mem y. Well, we want to increment y and then store that into param1, and then load a increment y again, and then load a row mem y, store a with param2. Do we use param2? We do use those here. Should I just use... Maybe this is dumb. Maybe we should just assumes level object data has been updated to point to the right location. Modifies X. So transfer X to A, transfer A to Y, and then it loads all this stuff. It does whatever it needs to do to level object data. It's pretty basic, but at least this way we're not messing with temp1 and param1 and param2 here, which are used in this code. So where was the change I was just making? It was somewhere here. Too far. It was right in here, so we're going to load that into level object data, and this will be in level object data +1, except I need to first store the background mode there. Let me put a note, fetch the level object data to set up the... Wow, that's so aggravating. Level enemies objects. All right, so load a blah blah blah, increment load a blah blah blah, and then this should now be the camera data. Set up the camera. So if we look at the level data for the first thing we're doing, okay, well, you know what, we've done half of it. Let's do the rest of it. So for regular maps, we have this. So load standard map. So we store that background mode, and we're not quite at the row count yet. Oh, you know what I needed to do? So my concern Actually, maybe it's okay. I think it's okay. I was going to say we need to increment ROMEM to offset for the way it used to work, but I think it's okay. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. So this is going to store this here. And so this is 0. So we're going to load A with ROMEM Y. Wrong language. Set up the level objects. Oh, wait. You know what we never did? Jumps. All right. Come on. Really? Now I know why this bothered me so much. And I think I initially thought it was something, should just move it now. I'd have thrown... Yeah, it's just frustrating because I'm not sure. It could be two things. Let's check real quick. It could be I have it in a little third-party USB that I was using because I thought I'd be all clever and be able to swap the keyboard when I needed to my laptop, but then that didn't work out quite the way I wanted. And I think it also just unplugged my camera too. But I don't know if that's the only issue or if the actual USB 3 hub is the issue. So we'll find out in a second. The video on the camera. Yeah, it's... Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see, where is the camera? The camera is here. Let me just have to reselect the camera. Okay. All right, so you guys can see the camera, I think. Hopefully that'll fix it. All right, so load A0, store A. Where was I typing? So low level objects. Okay. So then level object data, we have the next set of code. We're not doing that here. Set up level. Set up the camera. Okay. So load a ROMEM Y. Store a level object data. No, not count the data. Increment Y, load a ROMEM Y, store a level object data +1, jump subroutine, load level objects. All right, so that should take care of that, and then we're going to increment Y one more time. Actually load the level data now. So hopefully that actually works the way that I expect it to, and we will get level data that makes sense here. So let's open up the emulator and the tools and make sure that things are looking good. Hopefully that was a pretty seamless thing. I mean, it wasn't difficult to implement, so I'm sure I messed it up somehow, but what's going on with the controller? Did it get messed up because of this too? I have the controller connected to the keyboard, so maybe it changed the mapping of the gamepad too. Okay. So we have breakpoints set, but I don't care about that right now. So the level already failed to load properly. Okay, let's see what's going on. Kind of figured that that's what was going to happen, but I'm sure it's just some sort of minor thing related to the way that data is being read in. So where is the standard map stuff? Because that's what we're doing first. It is here. Okay. So if we go into this part, we increment row mem and level mem. I don't need to look at those macros. I know what they do. So we store the background mode, load Y with 0. Row mem. Let's double check these numbers, right? Because we don't want to make any assumptions. So level data, it's using map1 object here, which is AC2B. So far so good. A has AC. Load level, where are you? AC. So we store that in level. Oh, you know what? Okay. It helps if you store it in the right order. Level object data. Yeah, so that's the first thing that's wrong. That wouldn't impact the level not loading properly. But it certainly would affect the objects not loading correctly. So go back to that breakpoint. Actually, go back to this breakpoint because I don't want to step through the macro. So AC. And so then we look at this, and it is, what? Oh, right. AC2C, because it was AC2B, and AC2C is one after that, and level object count, that is the right variable, should now have a real value in it, and it does. It's 5, which is correct. So now we're going to get the max rows, which is 2B, which I think that's right. Let's see. 2B is 43 times 16. I did that in hex. What did I say? 2B. It's 43 times 16. That's 688. That sounds correct. Excuse me. So let's take a look here. So, okay, so it's kind of what I think I was worried about happening, is my guess, which is that because we kind of pushed everything by 2 bytes, the code is expecting that to be like the starting spot. So, and it's not the starting spot of the level. It's the starting, it's these additional 2 bytes that come after, or sorry, right before the level. So what we really want to do is load a row mem, and then clear carry, add carry 2, store a row mem, and then load a 0, add carry row mem plus 1, store a row mem plus 1. So we're just going to increment row mem by 2 to offset. We'll do that after the JSR. And then, now that that's been reset, Y can go back to being 0. So load Y with 0. And then we don't have to do this increment. Let's see if that fixes it. I feel like that it will. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that being the fix for this problem. But it wasn't. Did I not build? Wait a minute. What did this just do? Oh, I pasted it 1 extra time. Okay. I did that so quick, I wasn't even really sure that I actually built the code. So Let's just double check. Okay, I did. So that didn't fix it. Why? Sorry for all the puffing into the microphone here. Did I do that in the wrong spot? Yep, I did that in the repeat scrolling code, which is fine, assuming that that is actually what needed to happen. So let's do that here. Get rid of this. Yeah. No, it's true. Anytime I'm like working on something, I tend to have that, but it's usually by myself and not on stream and not into a microphone where somebody has to listen to me. There we go. Hey, there they are. Nice. Oh, except there's still a problem. Okay, so there's a problem where we're off by a little bit here. Let me... Why would that be off now? 0, 1, and then we add 2 to ROMEM to offset it from, let's take a look at the data. Let's take a look at how the code, I mean, that was definitely it, but let's, or certainly causing part of the issue, but let's take a look and see if we can spot anything else that's kind of messed up about this. So go ahead and run, and then where's the load level? So standard map is here. If I hit start, we process this, right? So we're going to load level object data with the appropriate location, AC 4F. Is that the right location? Where's the mem viewer? AC 4F. Yep, that's got the 5 objects, so that's all good. And then we're going to load A with ROMEM. So ROMEM is what, 98.6. 98.86. Let's see. So we have, yeah, so there's these 2 bytes here that are our address, and then we've got the actual beginning of the map. So what we want to do is we want to increment by 2, right? So we want to 98.6 should become 98.8. So we're going to load, yeah, and then we didn't carry, so 98.8 is the location we wanted. Okay, so that's good. So the only other thing I can think of is that when at some point we must be going back to the beginning somewhere to reset the data. Maybe when we're resetting the level mem position, are we going back to the beginning? And then we're not accounting for those additional 2 bytes. That could be it. Like right before we're done loading everything here. Store a lookup. Calculate where the lookup data starts based on ROMEM. Add Y to ROMEM to store an additional 1 carry. We could change that at some point, but anyway, that's the lookup count. Load full screen. Load tiles, check tile Y, next attribute. Done loading tiles. We set our address, and then we blast some attributes in. And set screen mem, and set up some other stuff. So it's going to be before that. Current level offset. Load a current level offset. Set the carry, subtract maps. Oh, okay. Well, that would be okay because that's just at the beginning. Where else are we using this, though? I have a feeling this is what's causing us the problem. Because the maps low is the pointer to the actual map. Yeah, so that could potentially be... We're just looping over and over again. What's going on here? This is always 0 because our lookup consists of one entry every time. Current level. This is current level offset calculation, so that's okay. This is current level offset calculation again, so that's okay. Skip row, mem, increment. Load a row mem, clear carry, add current level offset and store it into row mem and level mem. Oh, you know what it might be? Let's see. What is this incrementing 15 bytes for? Or sorry, it's not 15, it's 21. What is the load level? If modifying the map. Load a level mem, clear carry. This has to change because this is used later to reset the pointer to the actual map data. I guess it would be then 17 hex. But why? I don't remember what 17... What does the 17 represent? Would have been nice if I had put that there when I wrote that comment. Is it the 1 byte plus all the other lookup data? But this has to change because this is used later to reset the pointer to the actual... I mean... Like, that's basically what I think needs to happen. But having that cryptic number there is kind of dumb. I should have been more clear. Like, at the time, I knew exactly why, but I don't know how long ago that was. Past Mike was not kind to future Mike. Let's see how this looks. See if this actually fixed it or not. Yeah, that was the problem. So it was offset by 2, and that fixed that. And then if we go to the map and tiled, there's not a... Pause for a second here. There's the spawn point. There is a... What is that? A palette swap. And then there's a few things Did this actually get called? That might be at a weird spot. I know, or maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. It was just so short a run that I didn't really, it didn't really, let's see. 1, 2, 3, whoa, 1. Yeah, okay. No, that's everything. I don't know what palette swap we actually configured there, but that is everything that it's supposed to be. So now we should get to the repeat scroll here in a moment and see how utterly broken that is. Okay, so it's repeat scrolling. I think I know what the problem is. I think the issue is probably down to it's reading the wrong spot for the tile that it's supposed to be repeating because of the change we made about adding the address, but the enemy objects are loading correctly, so that's cool. That's actually, I was concerned a little that that was not going to work, but that's exactly right. So now we're going to go back to the map. Let's find out. This section is really long. Come on. I don't remember it being this long. It could just be that I'm impatient right now, but let's take a look at the location of the camera in memory, which is somewhere. What is that address? It is camera is 6C is the first pointer. So 6C. Oh, I think we're just hitting the end of it now. No, it's just, oh, well, huh, it is, so we are, something happened, and it is, oh, I know what happened. What happened was we also didn't look that up properly. Oh, no, it's just not processing the flip back over correctly for some reason, because you can see what happens is this goes to 0, we run this one out, and then it flips back over to repeat scroll again. Okay, so let's take a look. It's parts of it are better, parts of it are worse. So for repeat scrolling, we load level object data, we actually do this thing, and then let's see, we increment that twice. Oh, but we never load, we do load y with 0. So, or is that because that was an older, no, that should have been in that ROM. Let's see why. Let's take a look at that repeat scroll loading here. So if we go back into the debugger, load level, and then repeat scroll. So we're here. Let's take a look at what's going on if we hit that spot. Just the ship doesn't matter, so we'll just leave that. Okay, so AB3 AB36. That seems wrong. But I could also be I could be incorrect about that. AB36 level data. So that would be ocean AB36. Oh, it is okay. All right, so that's good. So AB36 is correct. So we've got that in level object data now, and then we're going to call load level objects, and it goes to AB37, and then if we look at level object count, we get whoa, 1C. That looks more like an address than a value. Level object count. No. Okay, so the Y is level object data is AB37, and if I open up the memory viewer, AB36 is that 1C. Level data. 1C is value from where? We don't have that anywhere here, so what is that value? 1C. AB36. Oh yeah, it should be over here. Where? Why is that so far forward? ROMEM AB37. And then load level objects. Load level objects. AB37. AB36 is this. But it that's map one object. Something about that seems weird. Level data. Let's go back to level data. Ocean AB36. No, that is the. Where's the ocean one bin file? Oh, it is 1C. Why? Is it that many objects? Oh, I guess it is that many objects. Sorry, I forgot that we had that many in there. So, okay, so that's actually fine, because that means that, let's see, 1C, that's 15. Sorry, no, 21. That's 21 objects, which I guess makes sense because I put a lot. Okay, sorry. My mistake. So now we take ROMEM, which is at A457, and if we look at A457, what is the software you are using for your level design? No problem. It's tiled. It's just the off-the-shelf tiled program, but I modified it so that it shows the 16 by 16 meta tiles, so that I can see where the palettes align, and I can update the attribute information independent of the tiles. That was the idea, at least, and it helps me kind of visualize like where the meta tiles fall for the meta tile generation. So yeah, it's just tiled, which is free. So yeah, no worries. So ROMEM, what did I say? A457, which is here. And I had, that is, yeah, that's the right spot, because that's a repeat scroll, and then there's the address, and then, yeah, so, oh, are we off by one because we didn't increment past the type? That's possible. So let's see. Load a ROMEM A459 Yeah, A457, A459, A459. Yeah, so, okay. It looks like I'm just a little inconsistent with how I'm doing the work here. So what's happening is when we're coming into here, looks like row mem. Oh yeah, because we increment row mem and level mem here. That's why. Okay, cool. So what we can do is the same thing, right? We store the background mode. We're going to increment row mem. Skip over the map type to be consistent with the standard map mode. Okay, so we increment row mem, and then we do an add to, which is kind of, I mean, oh no, actually we're fetching it. Yeah, we're fetching, and then we're loading the objects, and then we're storing two. I mean, in theory, we could do two of these increments, but this is better. Hey, no problem. Thanks for stopping by, Mazur. Okay, cool. So, set up the camera. Okay, so that should fix the problem with the camera now not being set to the right value, and hopefully that will fix the problem. So, probably what... Okay, so what definitely happened was we were loading the camera as 3610, or yeah, 3610. And if we look at 3610, I don't think it's it's a proper factor of 8. I mean, actually, it could be, but let's see. 3610. I guess because it ends in 0, it probably would almost have to be 3610. Let's see. Divide by 8. 1730. 8. 3610. So why was that a problem? What I was going to say is, or maybe because I manually changed it. Is it 3? Or actually, is it 136 and not... Let's take a look at the data. The data says 100E. 100E, so 3610. It might have been me manually tampering with it, messed it up. Because it has to be a factor of 8 for it to work. Because everything is based on the tile boundaries. So if I put in a value into the memory that was no good, then that would mean that it would not end up triggering the transition properly, because it wouldn't hit the tile boundary properly as a factor of 8, causing this not to scroll properly. So let's just make sure this is built and restart, and then we're gonna zip through. Whoa! We're gonna zip through the standard map. And then we should hit a breakpoint here soon. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we increment row mem. And then we get our level data. Level object data, I should say. Y was 2. Level object data is 4710. Is that right? 4710. No, that's not right. Oh, because I'm a dummy. Okay, so I'm incrementing Y. I was incrementing Y to offset for the fact that we did not increment. And what I really want to do is this. So make sure that Y is 0, get 0, the 0 and 1 offset, and then load the data, and then increment by 2. Yeah, okay. Silly business. All right, let's reload here. I don't care about that breakpoint anymore. Oh no, my ship is gone. Okay, so we hit the boundary. Increment row mem. And then A48B. No, what is it? It's AB48. That sounds right. That sounds better compared to the other AB48. Yes, that is correct. Okay. So then we load level objects, and then we load row mem, and we add 2 to it. So now the position of row mem is what? A4C6. Is that right? A4C6? A46C. Transposed it. A46C. And that is the camera position. Yes, because yep. And then we load the camera position, which now should be correct. Hopefully. So camera is, what did I say it's at? 6C. Go back to our memory and go to 6C. And now it is 0E11, which is good. I think everything looks good there. Let's close the debug, and there's our repeat scroll mode, and all the objects loaded correctly. And let's go. Let's load up the memory viewer just to watch the camera. So we're just watching this countdown, and that one as well. What we should see is that the once this hits 0, this will hit 0, and then we'll get to the point where we go back to the map. And then we should see the enemies load and all of that good stuff. So let's see. All right, we got a map. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies. That's perfect. That's exactly what it was supposed to do. So now we just watch the camera, make sure that when that hits 0 for both those bytes, we then switch back to repeat scroll. We're still hitting that weird little glitch in the way it transitions, and it also didn't load properly. Okay. That's weird. But that's okay. That's pretty close. So that fixed the problem with the enemies not loading for the main map. So that's nice. It gave us a flexible way of handling that, so that's good too. And now we're heading into the problem of we get what we had before. We have this. This works fine. We do the repeat scroll, it worked fine. We go back to the map, it works fine. But then when we want to go to repeat scroll here, it wasn't working. And I had sort of thought that it had something to do with this being too large. So what I want to do is let's go back through that sequence. I shouldn't have closed the emulator. Let's go back through the sequence and see if we can pinpoint where this is going wrong. And what we want to do is we're just going to set a breakpoint on load level, and we're going to skip the breakpoint except for the time where we know it's messing up, and see if we can see what's going on. Hopefully we can. If not, we'll probably call it for tonight. But we'll see. We're making good progress here. So let's see. Where's the other breakpoint that we had? Do we still have it? I don't think we have it still. So that's fine. So that's the main load of the level. What's this? Let's just zip through until we get to repeat scroll. for the second time. So that's repeat scroll. The first time we hit the repeat scrolling section, and now we have this wave of enemies that over there. Obviously, it's not good that I can have the ship just be on the side like this and hang out and not get killed. So we'll have to do something about that at some point. But obviously not terribly important right now. It's more game design related than tech related here that we're trying to debug. All right, so we're back to this, and we got our enemy spawning correctly, so everything is looking good. You know what? Hold on a second. Oh, too late. Okay, so it did read 2 for repeat scroll. Let's take a look at the location in memory for ROMM. So it could just be a coincidence that that worked right. AAE8. AAE. No, not here. No, stop. What are you doing? Go back. I started the emulation, unfortunately, accidentally. Where's my breakpoint? Let's just get rid of all of our breakpoints here and continue emulating and rewind a little bit. And then I'm going to pause the game. I'm going to go to load level and put the breakpoint here again. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so ROMM is AAE8. AAE8. Yeah, so it just happens to be 2. We can see that this is actually the end of the data. It should be putting us here. So what happened? Current level offset. The address for current level offset is what? Is that it's D51. D51. I wonder if this is because of... Well, but it's doing the math based on... I thought it was because of maybe that additional add of the 17 bytes that, or sorry, the hex 17 value that we're doing. But we're using our starting point as here, and we're saying, like, based on whatever position you're at, which should be here at the end for the offset, like, use that, add that to ROMM, but it seems like it's not enough. What's weird though is it works the first time, like, so this works to get us to here. All right, so what we'll do is this. Let's take a look. Let's restart again and look at what the values are for after the first map section. How much time are we in? Okay. So current level offset right now has a value of 6D2. So if we look at the level data, let's see. That's the address. The address is 9D97. Where's my calculator? 9D97. Oops. Okay. plus 62 gets me to A469, which is A469. That's correct. And then this is obviously working because this is getting me to A46F. So let's verify that. No, that's the wrong thing that I'm trying to start the code on. Where's my debugger? So I almost wonder if it's just a weird boundary issue that we're only hitting in the third attempt here. And we should be able to see that pretty clearly, at least from the perspective of, you know what we can do? We can even put a breakpoint where we calculate the offset and see if it's an obvious math problem. Okay, so what is this? This is low level, okay. Two things. So we know that this is probably going to work. Current level offset is 68. And we said that maps low. If we go back to the level data, 69.7, 68 gets you 60. Sorry. 99.7 plus 68 gets you A46F, which is this. So that's correct. So what we want to do is we want to set a breakpoint to see how it's calculating the offset at the very end of the standard map stuff here, because probably it's got a bug in the subtraction or something like that. This is what? This is the repeat scroll mode, right? Load full screen. Is this repeat scroll mode or is this the standard map mode? I missed the label. This is standard map. Okay. So this is the current level offset. Just load a row mem, store a current level offset, load a row mem plus 1, store a current level offset plus 1, load it, clear carry, add carry 16, and then store it in that, and then load that and add. So if we have that, okay. Why are we adding 16? We're adding 16 for what reason? Because of... Oh, because, right, because ROMEM is at the very end of the map data, so we want to push it to the... It's not, sorry, not the end of the map data, the beginning of the last row of the map data. Let me put a comment in for that, because why have to think about that when I could just make it obvious? Add 16 to offset row mem from the last, the beginning, the last row. Sorry, current level offset, not from the beginning of the last row of meta tiles to the literal end of the map. Okay, so that's a good comment now for that. So we're going to load current level, load row mem and store it, and then load row mem plus 1 and store it. So far so good. Except we're in the wrong spot because we're not there yet. Got ahead of myself. It is, where is that code? this is the code that I want to see. So, okay. Or actually, is that the... Yeah, because then we're subtracting maps low and maps high. Okay, good. All right, so row mem is now at AB41. And if we go look at AB41, it's going to be somewhere in our map data, or it should be. Oh, is it not there yet? Get out of here. Oh. So... Wait a minute. Why am I doing this here? When... Where's... Are we manipulating row mem later on? We must be. Increment Y, load a blah blah blah. Load tiles. Downloading tiles. Screen mem. Meta tiles, row mem. Get... No, but we're offsetting row mem to the end. Oh, it is the end. Okay, sorry. I was not reading that right, because I thought that this was the beginning. This is the beginning of the map, the repeat scroll mode. But I thought that we were in some other section. So row mem is already pointing to the beginning. Row mem is already pointed to the beginning of the next section. AB41. This is already the new map section, and you can even see it's got the comment map type 2 for repeat scrolling. So we're where is the instruction pointer? Here. So we're getting the index X set, and then we're loading row mem 41 and storing current level offset, then row mem +1 and storing that in current level offset. So now current level offset is set to AB41, which is actually where we want it to be. Why is that at the very end like that? Do we do something where we subtract 16 from it? Oh, lower down? And what are we doing? Current level offset. Skip row mem. Map position init. Load full screen. So that's if we're doing load full screen. In this case, we're not doing a load full screen. Oh, maybe that's why. Although I would then think that it would... that row mem would be pointing to here. To AB3 1, not 4-1. Oh, but you know what? Okay. All right. That makes sense. So what's happening is it's calculating it based on the very end, knowing that we're going to subtract a whole row in the scrolling code and jump from here to here, right? So we don't actually need to do that because we're already in the spot we want. The code that does the scrolling is going to say, okay, go back a row because we've reset everything. We reset everything and then we reprocess the scrolling code. If you remember from last time, what we were doing is we were kind of setting everything up that once we hit the load level code again, it has to re-trigger a row load. in order to continue on properly. So in this particular case, now is that true for a full screen reload? For full screen reload, that's going to be a little bit different. But we've already shown that that works. So this is really, hey Deedle, how's it going? So that's really, this is really the only place that has a problem. And it's just a problem because we are adding this and don't need to. So let's get rid of that because that's unnecessary. So the only thing we want to do is subtract maps low and high for calculating the actual offset from the absolute location. And then that should take care of that. I think that will fix the problem. And yeah, and so the difference between the time it works and the time it doesn't is subtle, right? It's because of the way things were set up, where we have a full map going to repeat scroll offsets correctly into the map again, but then when we load the map this time around, it's not a full screen load, right? Like when you, the difference is when we're loading the map the first time, we actually have to draw the whole screen ahead of time because we're not just loading the rows on the top. The second time around, we're hitting the map and we are doing it in a way that only grabs the first row, right? Because the first row is what we're drawing after all this repeat scroll stuff. So the offset calculation was wrong here, and that was what was giving us the problem. So now if we go through this and get current level offset, it's D30, and we go to level data. This should be right. And that's what is that? 9D86 again. We're all right. So 9D86 plus level data, load level, current level offset, which is D30. That gives us AAB6, and if we go to AAB6, what? Why is that still wrong? It is off by a whole screen worth of data. But that's so weird because we were here, and we said, okay, let's do this manually because something is weird. AB30. Is that the right location? To the address, the camera, the meta tile, and then this is our data for the map. Not the map, sorry. The enemies. Level data, where are you? So AB30. It is AB30. Okay, so that location is right. So AB30 minus 9D86 DAA. And if we go to the level, current level offset is D30. So D30, we're off by 122. Why did that happen? Why is our calculation off? Especially given that current level offset was set to ROMEM. ROMEM is, just to confirm, AB30. It's already at the right location. I must be doing the subtraction wrong. Load A, current level offset. Set the carry. Oh, wait a minute. Is that... That's 3-0. Oh, that should be okay. 8-6. Maps low X. Maps low, the value there is 8-6. So if we were looking at this, it would be 3-0 and what would it be? It would be 3-0 in A. And maps low. Level data. Sorry, I'm trying to do the math here. This is 90.86. 90.86. 90.86. So 8.6 would be the 98. I'm gonna forget this for sure. 90.86. Okay. So ROMEM is AB30, which we've already established makes more sense than what we're seeing here right now. AB30. So 30 minus 8.6. We should be getting AA. Are we not getting that for some reason? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong spot again. That's okay. The premise of what I'm saying is correct. So we're setting the carry, we're subtracting maps low. Let's rewind the emulation here a bit because I want to look at the actual math that's occurring. Oh wait, was I too early in stopping that? It is a 16-bit subtract, and it's checking the carry, but I thought something was busted with it. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm checking one too early. Or one transition too early. Come on. Let me pause the game for a second. So do that and then resume and and then it never hit that. Oh, right, because it's in the... Damn it. I gotta rewind further. I wasn't thinking about that clearly. The calculation is done at the end of the load, not at the actual point where it's trying to load it. So let's see if I can get this. Go away. Just keep running. Just keep emulating backwards for me here. Pause the game. Go to load level. And where's my code for this? Set carry. Oops. Damn it. That's not what I wanted to do. Load level. We're so close. So it's this. Okay. All right. So ROMEM is AB30, which I think we've already established is correct. It is. So must just be doing this wrong. So we have 3, 0. I'm going to set the carry, and I'm going to subtract. We're going to get AA. And so carry is clear. So current level offset plus 1. Current level offset is AB30 right now. That's going to become AA30. Oh, wait a minute. Crap, I never stored the value, right? Load it, subtract, and then I never store it. No, I think it's even simpler than that. I'm doing a load, I'm doing the set carry, I'm subtracting, and then I'm not doing store of current level offset. Now, if the carry is set still, then we don't decrement this, but otherwise we have to, right? And then we're storing this. I think that's all the problem was. I can't tell you the number of times I've done that already. It's so aggravating. It's such a simple, stupid problem. It's like just because I operated on it doesn't mean it stored it in RAM, right? So let's just transition here. Come on. All right, so there's that. Then we get our bad guys here. And we're going to switch back over to the map. And we should hit the breakpoint this time. And this time the subtract should work properly. Because what was happening was we were just storing the 3, 3. So it was AB33, but when we do the subtract, it becomes AA. But I was never storing that. So now that's ABAA. We decrement that. We set, carry, and subtract, and store. And now it is DAA, which is what it's supposed to be. So now, if I continue, okay, now we get the map again, which is correct. And now it should go to repeat scrolling correctly after this. Yep, there it is. We still get that weird little glitch, that little jump that it does, but the transition was correct now. And then it's going to break because it gets to the end where it's a map type that doesn't exist, and I don't know what it's going to do. It's just going to do weird random stuff. But that's it. That fixed it. So now we've got both things working. The enemies actually show up where they're supposed to, and we get our repeat scrolls correctly. And it looks like when you transition and roll over the camera is when you get that little glitch. So nice. I had vertical scrolling issues where I forgot to skip the attribute table. It's something weird because it looks like it almost updates with something that's non-existent, or I can't see it in the emulator at least. But let's take a look. I should probably blank out the code that is, or blank out the display while I'm updating the background for the title menu. Here, I can't speak. When you're transitioning over to the background, you can see it flash there for a second. But anyway, so we're going to get to repeat scrolling here in a moment, and it's going to do that little jump that it does. It seems like it's maybe related to the scrolling getting updated once incorrectly before we actually load the repeat scroll mode. I don't know. But I mean, everything is fine. Oh, I died. I'm going to be a cheater here. The only problem with the repeat scroll is it's like super repetitive. We may have to figure out some strategies to make it look a little bit less boring. But it's working pretty well otherwise. Now I'm tempted to throw this on my EverDrive and try it out. Just curious, when do you plan on implementing sound? I typically do it after I get the core playable. Yeah, that's my plan too. I was really trying to focus on getting the ability to do this transition working correctly for the repeat scroll on the map, because that's like the core of how these levels are going to be built. So now that that's working, I mean, sound would be cool, but I'm, still, I feel like if I do that, that's going to be another couple of months of streaming, trying to figure all of that out, and still not having solid core gameplay worked out yet. So that's what I'm hoping to work on next, is like actually build out this level correctly with all the assets I have, and like get to a point where there's a boss at the end, and like call that a complete level, even if it's not good or it needs tweaking or needs to be rebuilt or whatever, whatever the case is, like that's fine. I'm good with that. It's just like that's the part that I have a hard time with. Like, I can figure out the technical sides around sound. I don't know that I'm going to build my own sound engine, just because that's really challenging. We did do a little bit of an investigation around what it takes to drive sound on the NES, and I don't know. Let me know what you think, both here on stream and also in the comments. Like, on the one hand, I really am interested in what it would take to build a sound engine, but at the same time, I know it's a lot of work, and I know a lot of people have spent a lot of time just dedicated to building sound engines, using, FamiTracker as your composition tool. There's other stuff that we have to go back and fix related to the export tool, kind of being semi-broken right now because of the changes we've made for the maps, to get us to the state. Like, this is a really good state we're in right now, but there's obviously some stuff that is not being done correctly in the export process because of these changes. So yeah, I mean, that's exactly right, Drozrex. That's what I was thinking too. Focus on getting game functionality done, because, I mean, the sound engine is interesting, and maybe we could do that like after the fact, once the game is working, and we maybe use the sound engine as like a placeholder, and then we can decide if we're going to build one from scratch afterwards. It's definitely really interesting to me. I'm a musician. I play and compose, and so it's, something that I understand, like, how music works, so that's not the issue. The issue is just the time involved in building it. So this is great. This is exactly what I was hoping for. So after this, I'll probably just throw this up onto my CRT and see how it looks on that too, playing on something that isn't an emulator. My sprites are getting a little fuzzed by too many projectiles, it looks like. But yeah, cool. So we fixed this stuff. So next stream we'll focus on more of the level building stuff, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So yeah, thanks for joining me. As always, you can find me on on Twitter at Clearvis. You can email me, zelius@gmail.com. Post comments on the recording on YouTube. I actually just hit 2,600 subscribers, which is crazy. I remember hitting 500 subscribers and thinking that that was wild that that many people are interested in NES Dev, and we're at 2,600, which is awesome. I mean, yeah, you know, I don't think I'll ever hit like a huge number where, you know, we're in the double thousands digits, but that's fine. The community is pretty strong and people are getting value out of these videos, and that's the whole point. 0 pages are obviously I'm behind on, but I have some concrete written down materials, and I know I've said that before, but hoping to get one of these done by the end of the year, so that we can continue that series. I know people are still watching it and getting value out of that. So if you want to reach me on Discord, I'm Clairvis there too, although under Video Game Sage I'm Zelius. In that Discord, definitely feel free to message me, say hi, ask questions. That's totally fine. People have been super respectful of my time, knowing that I have a job and family and stuff, so I appreciate that, but also appreciate the questions and people looking for help. So I will see you all Thursday, and we will work on the level design some more. So take care. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by.